guys, welcome back to our channel. Today, Peter and I are going to do a shoot recreating or kind of putting our own spin on this drawing, I guess, that he found online. He's not too sure where he found it, but we both really like the look of it. So he's going to try and replicate a drawing, but with lighting and photography.
Okay, I had this picture I found, I don't know where it's come from, but I really like the pencil drawing effect of it. I thought I wouldn't mind trying to do some lighting to mimic that look. So normally as a photographer we have artists pencil sketching or copying our work. Well, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to grab a pencil sketch look and try and replicate that light. And I'm going to do a little bit of finishing off in Lightroom or in the Hasselblad software, Lightroom, and then in Photoshop. So my lighting I've set up to get that look was, I noticed on the picture that it has a shadow deep under the neck, which is like a very high light. So I've set this up to do that. And then you'll notice on the picture, the shadows are quite light on her neck. So I've set up two lights to bounce off the white wall there. It's basically just to fill the shadows. So I've set up a very contrasty light here, then I've filled in the shadows bouncing off these walls. So I've pre-set up all that lighting set up. It's just till I get my exposure, my look right. There's not much to learn. I didn't really move much of lights. It was just turning up and down. So now I'm just going to come in and do some shots just to get a picture for me then to show what I'm going to do in post to finish this off. All right, so I'm just going to get some shots for this because I've already pre-set up the exposure. That's really cool. Nice. I'm also going to do a separate little sort of music stop frame video-y thing with this too, because it looks really cool, and I'm going to do some blending of the stop frame stills with this video that's sitting on the side. There's the look that we're getting. So with my settings I've got in my Hasselblad focus software, what I've pretty much done is I've got my channel mixer set to green channel 100%. I've then come in and changed my curves. I've pulled up my shadows a lot and I've pulled down my highlights a lot to get that sort of pencil-y sketch greys rather than white and black. Then I've punched in a lot of shadow fill. You'll see that shadow fill brought up all that detail in the hair. I have used the Hasselblad Clarity, but I'll show you what I'll do in Lightroom, which is a different way I would handle this picture. And then you'll see that the contrast then gets a bit of black in there. But even though I've also moved the black up here just to make my blacks lifted where the blacks kick in, but then I've moved my mids to make sure that I fill in the rest of the shadows a lot. So I get those really black bits in here, but I'm getting detail in the hair very quickly, like a pencil sketch type of a look. So you see, just as I slide these things around, you can see how I've just played these with these just to my taste to get the look that I wanted. So I might just take a couple more pics. We didn't quite nail it there. Awesome. Cool. So with this, I'm just doing a mixture of shooting very quickly, but then I'm doing some where I'm waiting for Beck to actually give me eyes. Cool. Because when the stop frame I'm going to do, I do want those in between shots every now and then. Cool. Cool. I like that. I like that a lot. It's really nice. If any of the people ask why I do this, I've come up. I've only got center spot focus on this. So I come up, I get my focus, I drop back down. Now I'll shoot. And because Beck's going to be fixed to that spot, and at f8, most of them are going to be as sharp as I need them to be. Cool. That's really cool. Can you do a hair zhoosh? Just for the last couple. Cool, that's really like that. That's awesome. Cool. Cool. That's really cool. Just another quick little thing while I'm shooting. You'll hear that I get 3 beeps, and then I know if one of the lights didn't fire, it'll sound different straight away. So I always like to have beeps on my lights, and it tells me that they've all fired, and then you get this sort of little Like the bellbirdie sounds from when you're at the creek. Cool, cool. Oh, your bow's come undone. You've debowed.
Sorry.
Is this a wifey thing not to bow up anymore? Just punch in the eyes for a couple. Really work those eyes, cool. Nice. Cool, I like that. That's nice, that's really cool. Cool. So now I'll take you into Lightroom and show you how I do the raw, and then take you into Photoshop just to show you mainly just the tiny adjustments I'm going to do. Okay, I've come down to my final selected picture. Just as a reminder, what I did to get this, as I was using my green channel 100%, you'll see on my levels that I've pulled up my levels here in the midtones, and I've pulled up my black. So I've pulled up midtones a little bit, but I've brought up my blacks a lot because I've used a full amount of shadow fill. I've got a contrast happening here. I've got V1 clarity, which you can't do anywhere else, which doesn't sharpen. I've put this weird looking S curve, but that's basically to pull the highlights out because of the contrast and the clarity and the shadow fill, but also put some more shadow fill in here because I want to really get that sort of pencil sketch sort of look. So I've tried to keep everything away from the pure white or pitch black, except try and get these tiny little dark bits in the hair and in the pleating of Beck's dress. This is me replicating with the F file from Hasselblad in Lightroom. Green channel, you'll see that highlights is I've pulled my highlights down -20. I've pulled my shadows up 45 to again get that sort of look in the hair. If you pull them too far, even though it gives that pencil sketch look, I think it just takes it too far. I didn't want to go way over the top. So I found around about +45 was about where I wanted to be. Nothing else touched there because I won't touch the clarity. The dehaze does give that sort of little bit of effect, but instead of putting in here, I'll show you a trick I did in Photoshop. I've put an up curve because I just wanted to fill in a bit more. The very small adjustments on the red channel made them lighter. Orange channel made it a bit lighter, which is her skin. They're the only changes. I brought my midtones down a little bit here. I've brought my shadows up a little bit here, and I left my highlights the same, and sharpening turned off, of course, that's what I always do. So just so you now can see the comparison between the Hasselblad focus software and Lightroom, there's a side-by-side of the two, and if I don't tell you what's what, they're pretty close. It's really hard to see the difference. Just so you can see, one side looks lighter than the other, it doesn't, it's just there was a gradient on the back wall. To show you this, if I just bring this over and lay it over, you'll see how they're nearly identical. If you look at the shaded area here and the highlight area here, so it's hardly any difference. It just says a gradient, so that's why you're seeing the difference when they're sitting side by side to each other. You'll see that difference there. So that's a finished retouch. And if I just bring us back to the start, that's it, straight out of Hasselblad. Done a healing layer, and it was just to clean off any of the, like the little bit Beck's tattoo, anything that's sort of really fine and dark or really fine and light. Then my dodging and burning, again, just so you know, it's that up curve and a down curve with a black mask, and to give you an idea, that's what my mask looks like. So it's me painting white at 1% flow to then do my dodging and burning to clean things up. There's the difference of my dodging, and there's the difference of my burning. And I burnt it a little bit different to normal just because I wanted to get more that pencil sketch sort of look into there. My cutting layer, which is just a grey layer, and put into blending mode of soft light by painting, just by painting black and white on that layer, is then allowed me to shapen a little bit. So I just, her top was a bit too bright. I've darkened up some of the pleats a little bit and just worked just tiny little areas I felt need a little bit more. Color fill layer is a helper layer that hasn't been used on this. The gradient map, that's just my giving me that linear contrast, and I've run it at 100%. And again, just quickly, gradient map, I go from pitch black 0 to 255 white. I've got it set in classic because I find that's the best one. All right, then I've got my top curves layer, and that was just to bring it back to the grays, get out the pure whites. I wanted to keep it in that sort of gray like pencil sketch. Then the very top layer is my little twist layer. If I just show you, you'll see there's that little punch. Now the main reason this is because I wanted to use the dehaze tool. The Hasselblad doesn't have dehaze tool. So all I did was do a stamp visible on this, create this layer here, go up to filter, go to camera raw, and then use the dehaze slider in camera raw just to add that tiny bit more, just that tiny bit more localized contrast, just punched it up one.
So we hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did and you want to see some more in-depth tutorials and some more retouching tutorials, we've got a heap of them over on Inspire. There'll be a link in the description below. Otherwise, I'll pop some other videos up on the screen now.